right, onwards, let's do this. Welcome back, Wieners. Today's a brand new day, and with it being a brand new day, I figured we'd wake up bright and breezy and get after it. Chase after some LM bizzles. This is gonna be another installment of Just Fishing. You guys really like this format, which is cool, because it allows me to do what I want to do, and that is solely focus on fishing and teaching and shedding some light on experimenting with some of these new lakes here in Texas, all the while capturing on footage. And I like doing these solo missions too. Not that I don't like filming with Caleb. Caleb's a wizard, and it definitely helps and allows me to focus solely on fishing, but it is cool to kind of piece together a day out in the water with just a tripod, which is essentially you guys, and a couple of twigs. But to break down the scenario, let's take it back for a second. Let's break down the scenario. It is a somewhat cool Sunday morning here in North Texas. I've traveled to a lake that seems to always perplex me. I've been here quite a bit. I've had some really good luck here in the past, but I've also had some really bad luck here in the past. The first time I ever fished here, I caught a 7-pounder mixed in with some decent 3s and 4s. You could call that a good day of fishing, if not a great day of fishing. And this was my first time ever fishing here. Now, after that experience, I of course thought this was the juice, so I'd come out here occasionally if I had a couple free hours to kill. And I've learned very swiftly that this is not an easy lake to fish. And it definitely strikes me as one of those lakes that is a hero or zero type deal. So we've come out today in hopes to become that hero and not zero. There's quite a few kayakers out. Conditions are quite lovely. Maybe low 60s, light breeze is supposed to pick up to 15 later in the afternoon, which is gonna hurt the trolling motor, but help the bite, hopefully. Overcast, I assume all day, if I'm not mistaken. This lake is kind of split into two different genres. One half of the lake is complete mud, I would say about a foot viz, and the half that we launched on is, I want to say 3 to 4 foot viz. So you've got a mixture of clean water that is mostly comprised of stump fields and tree fields and standing timber, while the other side is littered with docks, huge boulders, deep bluff walls, and occasionally some brush. So this is a weird lake. I'll leave it at that. I believe it's two lakes that they might have connected, but it's a very fishy zone, and the goal in the mission, as it always is when we come out in the water, is to, of course, hopefully, fingers are crossed, catch that double digit. So there's my very lengthy intro. I just want to set the scene for you guys. Oh, also too, most important part, water temperature 57 degrees Fahrenheit, and I think I'm gonna start fishing, so let's get after it. All right, spot numero uno. We're starting off on the clean side. Once it does come, the wind is gonna rip all through here, and it's gonna make it very difficult to fish this stuff. I'm gonna utilize this calm weather while we have it. Gonna snap around some jerk baits. I'd like to try to catch them on the A-rig too. As this water gets colder, the better the A-rig fishing should be, but I don't know, the past couple times I've been out, I've thrown it around, it's not really yielded me much success, but no point in giving up. Gotta keep trying. The water temp is just right. We're throwing moving baits, spinner baits, jerk baits, things of that nature. Like, it is perfect, like that mid to low 50s, that dropping temp, can just be so good to get on some sort of shad imitation bite. It's incredible how clean this water is over here. I'll give you guys kind of a side-by-side perspective. There's really nothing separating these two bodies of water other than a pipe. And I don't know how the water doesn't mix. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you'd think it would all be one water clarity. That's far from the truth. There's some pretty big trees over here. This time of year, fish like to suspend sometimes on big standing pieces of timber. I'm sitting in 22 feet right here. There's a very deep spot. It's full of standing timber, bit of rock up there as well, and in theory should have a couple suspended on this wood, looking for a little shad. That's exactly why I'm snapping this rip bait around, trying to imitate one of them shadleys. It's also surprisingly insane as to how well a rip bait can come off brush too. Like, with this having 3 trebles, it knocks off of the wood pretty easily. Like, I don't get hung up that much, but now that I said it, I probably will. I speak things into fruition. Is that yeah. Speak things into fruition? I don't know. English for 100 points. I dropped my battery, so I'm gonna go pick that up. There we go. There's one. First bite of the day. Does not feel big. Matter of fact, it's tiny. But we're not getting skunked, which is all that matters. That fish was suspended. My God. I'm sitting in 31 feet of water and that fish bit right on the edge. That was impressive. There we have it. First one of the day. Skunk out of the boat. Let's go. Nothing very huge, but that fish was doing exactly what I was explaining to you guys earlier, and that is just suspended out deep, looking for bait. I'm seeing lots of shad on my graph, and I was just waiting for a thump. Got a tap, more or less. Not necessarily a thump, but we'll take it. Hopefully this is first of many. Thank you, bro. Bye-bye. Little backspin there on the all-white deep diving jerkbait. Can't beat it. Another one? Another one. Better. Literally next cast. Literally next cast. We're hooked up again. This feels a little bit better. Oh, it's a yappy. It's a yappy. Wrong species, right size though. My God, look at this yappy. Holy moly, dude. Oh, there's a tree out there with a bunch of suspended crappie on it. That's pretty cool. Fall breeds all walks of life. Everything's getting bitey right now here in northern Texas, including and especially the yappies. Ate a big old jerkbait. It's not a bad black crappie. Beautiful fish. Wicked looking fish. Don't necessarily fight much, but they're great table fare. All right, send them back. That was crazy. 2 consecutive casts, 2 consecutive species. See you later, yap. I thought that was a donkey. I thought that was a donkey. All right, I reckon it's time to move. Let's go to the other side of the lake. Let's go to the dirt. Let's go to the filth. The filthiness. We've moved. We're on the dirty side now. This is actually where I've caught more fish, but I'm very, very in love with the clean side just because it's clean and it sets up nice. And there's actually quite a lot of hydrilla over there too. So we might have to revisit that, but we're gonna start off with this. See if we can bop some. I'm already seeing quite a lot of shad. Okay, time to bring out the you-know-what. The you-know-what. The rig. And try to slow things down. All right, we're gonna slow things down just a hair. Last time I was out in the water, I was very dedicated to throwing moving baits, jerk baits, A-rigs, crankbaits. And although it seemed like it would make sense because of the amount of bait that was around, it just wasn't working. Kind of trying to keep that in mind today. I caught a lot of my fish the other day on jigs in like 2 to 5 feet of water, which seems so opposite to what they should be doing this time of year. Not saying that they won't eat jig, but with all the bait that's around, usually in the winter time, I think you'd get them on something like a moving bait, like a shad imitation. So with that same mentality, I'm gonna put down the jerk bait for a bit and give the jig a fair shake. See if we can get some on the bottom. I am seeing a little bit of bait, but not a ton. Not even near as many as what we saw last time, thankfully, because that was, to be quite frank, too much bait, like way too much bait. Yikes, man, yikes. There we go. Oh, wow, white bass. Not what I was hoping for. Wrong species. I've had 3 bites today with 3 different species. That's actually a pretty big white bass, damn. This guy was hanging with the largemouth, just suspended. Of course I get him to eat, but not the LMBs. Species number 3, we're slowly figuring them out. Kind of, not really. All right, see you, man. Well, thanks for that. Take care now, and goodbye. Goodbye. The mark was so big, I was almost certain that was a largie, but it was not. There we go. That's a little bit better. Is that another white bass? Well, I'll be damned. It's another whitey. They're like suspended like largemouth would be. Ah, strange. I'm very confused. Like, this fish is like all by himself, suspended in 16 feet of water. Well, it was fun. Never complain when the rod is fully torqued over. This is really curious. I'm seeing these fish in my graph. I'm like, okay, these have got to be largemouth. These have got to be lonesome largemouth, suspended, waiting for bait to roll through. Sure enough, not the case. It's a whitey. It's a white bass. Still fun though, undeniably. Oh, there we go. That's a decent one. That's not too bad. We will take that. Oh, don't come off. He's barely hooked. Finally, a nice bite. My God, they're fighting so hard today. Jeez. It's a decent fish. Not a slouch at all. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my goodness, I missed these Texas LMBs. Oh, he ate it in like 24 feet of water. I was about to reel up for another cast, but there's a lot of bait down there. A lot of bait that looks just like my jerkbait. A lot of shadleys. Come here, buddy. He's wearing me out. He is wearing me out. Let's go. This is so much fun. Oh, this is why I like using light gear. It's just, I don't know. It plays him out. It's way more exciting. That's not a bad fish at all. Probably about high 2s, maybe. Something like that. Get him in the boat. Oh, very healthy fish. Not the biggest, but damn, did she put up a fight. That was quite exciting. That's bass largemouth number 2 of the day, but technically it's fish number 4. Really healthy looking bass. I love the way these fish look in here. They're very tall. See how broad their shoulders are? Texas bass are very unique in a sense. They just look a lot different than the largemouth I grew up catching. The smallmouth, big body fish of the north. Also, side note, I'd put $1 million on the fact that what's inside of this fish's stomach right now is shad. And that's one of the reasons why we're throwing the jerkbait. See ya, buddy. That was good fun. Thank you. Back she goes. White bass central. Oh my God. There's a lot of white bass down there. This is not really what I'm after, but wow, that's a lot of white bass. Good Lord, have mercy. Hundreds of them. Hundreds of them. Hundreds of white bass. Hundreds of white bass. Look at all these white bass. Wow, those are a lot of white bass. Going on me. Come on, crush it. Oh, he's still on it. It's a good bass. Just had one all over me. Would not commit though. Last cast over here, and then we got to figure something out. It is 11:03, and we don't have much in terms of pattern. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to include a healthy dose of bottom fishing here by throwing this jig, so I'm not so glued on the jerkbait and the crankbait and the little swim bait, but I'm not really getting a whole lot of action on this either. And I'm fishing a bank that would set up to be perfect for a jig bite. But I mean, I keep going down here, and on my graph, I'm seeing fish chasing bait suspended. So it's like very conflicting. It's like, I don't know what hill I should die on here. Should it be the slow moving hill or the fast moving bait hill? I'm not really sure, but I don't know. Looks like there's a couple more boats out here too, which is interesting. All tinnies, bunch of aluminums out today. Aluminum gang, where you at? Yeah, I think we're gonna get out of here. This bank looks great, but it's just not doing it for me. It's just not. Let's go try something new. I'm right through a pile of bait. Let's see if I get bit. And survey says go f yourself. Okay, got it. Just double checking there. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Do your thing. Do your thing. Oh, no. Oh, looks like a pretty good fish too. Yeah, look at that. Nice big old carp. That's freaking wild. There's a little turkey vulture on this dock over here, eating the head of a carp. It's really sending off some fishy vibes right now. This whole picture right here just kind of sums up today's bite. No, by all means, continue. I'm not gonna impose upon your meal. Oh, okay. Or you could just leave. Suppose it's better that he's eating a carp than a 10-pound bass. It's a pretty big carp too. The thing was huge. It's got a monster head. There's a decent one right there. Good one. There we go. That's a largemouth. Suspended on a tree. Finally got another one. That one ate a small little swim bait, 3.3-inch size Southsea swimmer. Down the hatch, he was just suspended like a crappie. And the weird thing is I've been casting a lot of fish like that today, suspended on trees with this exact lure, and they haven't really wanted it, but that one, boom, reacted so quickly and willingly. It's a start. We're slowly starting to figure something out here, even though we're kind of in that midday zone. Decent little fish. We'll take anything we can get right now. Thank you. Always got to say thank you to the fish. Without them, it'd be a tough day. See you later. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys real quick what that fish ate. This can be a very, very effective way to catch bass this time of year when they're specifically feeding on little shad. This is a rig that is fairly simple, but has seemingly gained a lot of popularity with everyone being hyped about Panoptics. This is just a little tiny 3.3-inch size saucy swimmer. And on the front of that, we've got about, I think this is like a 3/8 ounce, 3/4 ounce. No, this is a 3/8 ounce, I believe, jig head. Really tiny. It's got a big eye, resembles the shad down there. It's simple, but very, very effective. And that's the key. Sometimes just finding something that is straightforward and to the point is all you need to throw. Like, you don't need to get super fancy with this. Like, I'm not looking to throw something mega finesse. Just a little tiny swim bait on a jig head. It's a pretty inexpensive jig head too. You can find these anywhere. I actually bought these from Walmart the other day because I was all out, and it works just fine. The rod is a 7.2 medium action, 10-pound mainline, 10-pound fluoro leader. And I don't think the fluoro leader matters too much today because this water has a nice tint to it. But I like throwing leader just because it's abrasion resistant up against the rocks, and this lake is absolutely littered with rocks and heavy brush. So I want to make sure if we do hook up, you know, we're not going to lose them. Nice, very cool. Let's keep that same momentum. Let's keep moving. Point beating the dead horse. Man, this lake looks so freaking good. All right, we've switched sides. We're on the clean side now. I gave up hope over there. I don't know what the hell is going on. Fish feeding everywhere. I don't know. Definitely has me a bit clustered. I'm a bit ticked off. So I figured we'd just start from scratch. Try this side. See if we can get some hungry ones to open up. Honestly, I feel like this side looks way better. Although I'm not seeing as much bait. So that somewhat deters me. Doesn't mean that we're not going to still try to catch them, but yeah, there is probably 1/10 of the bait over here that there is on the larger side of the lake. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but I just know that bass this time of year like chasing the food. What's nice about this side of the lake though is there's hydrilla. There's a bit of grass, which is super clutch. It's like a completely different lake. Like, they're so different. Wow, there's actually a ton of grass over here. Holy moly. Water's warmer over here too. It's 60 degrees. Whereas back there it was 58 when we left. It's like 2 degrees warmer over here. It's a whole nother lake. It's just so weird. I've never fished anything like this where you've just got like 2 lakes that are technically one, but they are drastically different in features. Like, I mean drastically different. Doesn't make sense to me. Not sure what kind of grass this is. It might be hydrilla, milfoil, something, but that's what's down there. And there's absolutely no grass that I can find, at least, on the other side. So this definitely piques my interest just a little bit. Grass can be a pretty good thing to fish this time of year. Holds a bit of oxygen and warmth for those bass. And you've also got bluegill and minnows that use the grass as a nice little area to post up and hide. And the bass know that. The bass are onto them. I know too well. Oh, found myself a nice tree. I done found myself a nice tree. Hello, Mr. Tree. Can I have my $20 jerkbait back? Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I'll tell you what, these fish are being freaking wily today. Golly, brother. I haven't even seen a flicker over here. Not a crappie, not a shad, and of course not a bass. I don't know what the deal is, but it seems really dead over in this spot. Oh, yep. Here we go. No, that was a big one. Oh my God, that was a big fish. No. How did I lose him? That thing was big. No, he was on a brush pile. What the f? Oh, dude, that was like my first good bite in ages. I'm coming up onto this flat because I'm thinking there'll be grass up here. First brush pile I find, I'm like, oh God, there's a fish right there. Perfect cast, like just molto bene. He hits it so hard he puts slack in my line. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he doesn't have it yet. So I check him a little bit, set the hook, have him for like 2 seconds, and he pops off. God bless it. Still down there too. You. That felt big. That felt really nice. Come on, please eat it. Please eat my swim bait. There we go. There's a nice. No! What the? What the? What the? I mean, that was another good one. Oh, another nice fish. I'm about to quit. These are big fish. These are really big fish. Like I feel that they're big. I see that they're big. I'm getting frustrated. Earlier I was keeping my calm and trying to be composed, but I'm like, I'm willing to say anything right now. I'm so pissed. There we go. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Slowly figuring them out with only an hour to spare. This one's got a bit more meat on its bones. I tend to do this. I tend to figure out a pattern near the end of the day. Got about an hour and a half left to make things happen, and I'm now starting to get actual bites. This is my 4th bite on this technique. I'm gonna make a few casts, and then eventually I'm gonna sit down and talk to you guys what I've discovered over these past 30, 45 minutes of fish on this new side of the lake. Decent little guy, can't complain. Definitely not the one I was hoping for, but we'll take anything right now. See you later, pal. Another one. Jeez. That's a good one. Little, but it's putting up a fight. There we go. Is that 3 in a row? Are we recording? Are we wrecking? We are wrecking. That's 3 in a row. Look at that, down the hatch. Buddy wanted that. Just a wee little dude, but so much fun on light action gear. Did not think I'd be coming out here and throwing the spinning rod today. I actually almost didn't even bother rigging one up this morning, but I was like, yeah, never know. When in doubt, always have to have one on the boat. See you later, Bubba. Thanks for playing. Here's the adjustments that I've made. First and foremost, I left and abandoned that bite over there. We did get a nice fish and the biggest one of the day on a jerkbait on the dirty side, but it wasn't enough for me to like stay. I was seeing quite a lot of activity, as I usually do on lakes like this that I don't fish very often. And it tends to give me false hope. Like I'm watching some fish occasionally come up and grab bait, and that gets me excited. I'm thinking, okay, time for the A-rig, you know, time for the saucy swimmer. But it's not that easy, of course, especially when things start to change like it did today. The main factor that switched up on us about 2 or 3 hours ago is the wind. We went from pretty much 2 to 3 mile per hour winds to now what you can hear, 15, almost 20. We switched lakes, the wind picked up, and we're over here now on the cleaner side, and started off really slow. I went to one bank and I didn't even see like a single shad, and that really worried me. So continued down the bank, found this whole stretch, which is completely protected by the wind. Now, it's not that I'm allergic to fishing in the wind, but for the sake of today's video and not ruining the audio, I've tucked myself behind this point. And it just so happens on this point and the one over there, there's a lot of grass, and it kind of sets up like a flat, probably something these fish use in the springtime to spawn. And mixed in with this grass, this submergent aquatic grass, are of course stumps, which you see around me. And what's even more beautiful about the fact there's grass over here is that it's mixed in with stumps and standing timber, which you can see all around me. A lot of that is not visible to the naked eye though. A lot of that is down there, and I'm using my graph to kind of point, you know, which direction I think these fish are gonna be in. Occasionally I'll see one. Back there where I lost those two, they were huge marks, perfectly like textbook giant bass marks on top of brush piles adjacent to that grass that I was talking about, anywhere between 8 to 13. I think the second one that I lost was an 8 foot, the first one was in 13. And yeah, I mean, after I got those bites, I'm like, listen, I'm no dummy. I'm gonna take advantage of this. The writing's on the wall. So now we're sticking shallow, anywhere from 15 to like 3 feet is what I'm fishing. And the ticket is this little guy right here. I'm rolling around a 3.3 inch saucy swimmer. It's an awesome little swim bait to fish around grass. And I probably should be using this on a casting rod, seeing as to how thick and dense this wood is, but I like playing with fire. So I'm using a 7.2 spinning rod, just casting out there and slowly bringing it in, making sure that swim bait is just above the grass. If I can keep it literally a couple inches above that grass, then that's perfect. I don't want it to be in the grass. I don't want it to be too high above that grass. I just want it to be ticking the grass so perfectly. So that way it draws the fish's attention and I end up getting bit. Getting bit is not a hard thing for me. It's landing the fish. So like I said, got about an hour and a half left to kill. We're gonna see if we can maybe get like a nice 4 or 5 pounder. That'd be absolutely beautiful. So I just thought I'd sprinkle a little knowledge on today's video. I learned something today. I've never fished this way at this lake before, so this is kind of all new for me, and it is working out. Granted, we're not slamming them, but those 2 big bites I had, oh wow, look at that, that's a log. Those 2 big bites I had definitely got me going and got the blood pumping, and I'm thinking we're doing the right thing. So we're gonna continue onwards. Unfortunately, I'm running out of, oh God, there's some of the stumps I was talking about earlier. Absolute prop duster. Unfortunately, we're running out of bank that is not getting slaughtered by the wind, so probably gonna fish this and then keep on moving down the bank, see what we can make happen. There we go, biggin, 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 biggin. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a giant. That's a giant, baby. That's a giant. On the 8 rig. Oh, let's go. Let's go, baby. Woo! Not as big as I thought, but it's a good fish. That was pretty wild, man. I literally, I don't know how much of this you're gonna be able to hear. That was fucking so sick. Let's go, baby. Whew, keep fishing, never stop. Very weird looking fish. Almost looks like he's taller than he is long. That is an incredible last minute fish catch. I'm getting absolutely tossed around by this wind right now, and I go over this tree and I could see this very fish on top of a tree in 20 feet of water, and I was like, oh boy, that's a nice one. So I let the wind carry me, turned back around, just made a half-ass blind cast, watched the A-rig go right over his head, and he absolutely slaughtered it. While this wind is difficult to fish in, it helps these these big fish open up. Not a bad one, probably about 5 pounds. Let's get him back. Oh, thank you so much. I will see you later. I will see you later, big girl. Thank you for playing. That was epic. Woo! That felt good. Let's go. Well, I must admit, that was quite hell putting the boat back on the trailer with all this wind, but we managed. We're back on dry land, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you guys so much for watching yet another chill, relaxed, and beautiful day of just fishing. Remember, if you guys are curious as to how I caught the fish, I'll always leave it linked down in the description below as far as, you know, gear goes, baits, all that. And if there are some baits that you want to pick up from googensquad.com, don't forget to use my code JohnB. Save 10% off your entire order. But yeah, the 3 baits, I got it done today. First, we've got the deep diving jerkbait, the +1. Second, we slowly figured things out with the little tiny swim bait. I really like that in the grass. Unfortunately, I figured that out a little too late. I genuinely believe that I was on the tail end of that bite, and unfortunately, I lost some pretty big fish, but we did get a few, and that's where the numbers came from. And then lastly, we finally got a nice bite on the Alabama rig. I am stubborn with that thing, but the reason why I'm so stubborn is because of that reason right there. It has the ability to draw in big fish when the conditions are rough, and when most other lures don't really work, which is very surprising. But the A-rig is quite the deal. And if you guys want to check out any of that stuff, I'll leave it linked down below, as I always do, in the description. If there's any baits that you want to pick up, like the saucy swimmers we used today, be sure to check out googensquad.com and use my code JohnB for 10% off. I'm peacing out, signing out. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Just Fishing. Appreciate the view, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. As always, folks, keep fishing, never stop.